We need to approve the minutes from April 9th.
I move it. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have the incomparable Lenny Hall here with us today. Teresa Almke Cortez and Rebecca Horowitz. Welcome.
And friends. And friends, yes, welcome back.
So,
Program partnerships, same as well as the CDL program. And we're glad to have you here with us, thank you.
Glad to be back.
Lenny, quickly, how long have you been with this?
Well, since 2012.
Right.
So,
right.
It's many years.
I recall that, yeah.
So, SAME stands for Summer Advanced Manufacturing Experience. Like I said, we started in 2012. It started out as a 3-week program, Monday through Friday, and on Fridays we would do field trips to the companies. This year, we're looking to reduce it to 2 weeks, but 2 one-week programs. So there'd be 2 sessions at the Fairport location. The first week, we're looking to do an all-female class. It still would be 8:30 to 2:30, and then on Fridays, it'd be 8:30 to 12:30, and we're gonna still do the field trips on Fridays. And then the second week would be a co-ed week. We looked at that to try to get the same number of students, approximately, on average, we're getting 15 students. My max would be 17. So if we did 15 and 15, we would have 30 students, opposed to a 3-week class that would be 15 students long. So we're trying to double the amount of students in the program, which is the goal, getting more high school students involved in manufacturing and engineering in the Rochester area. And we figured it would be easier for a family to do 1 week than 3 weeks. I know a number of times I've had students who it conflicted with a Boy Scout camp or something like that, so there's a little bit of flexibility in those 2 weeks. The downside is they wouldn't be doing the college credit through MCC for machine shop lab. And in a sense, that's not really a bad thing, because the students are 10th graders. By the time they would get to MCC, they would forget a lot of what they learned in the summer, in the summer class. So they'd be very rusty, and it wouldn't hurt them to take that class over again. The other thing is we're not going to have a certificates ceremony at the end, which some of you have, I think, have attended that ceremony. So for my end, it would be a 2 one-week classes, and at Monroe 2, they're still doing the not 3 weeks but 2 weeks, but 1 class.
Yes, and we are trying to increase our enrollment in our same program and get more students in. So what we did this year is we actually went out and spoke with the Algebra 1 teachers, because Algebra is still the requirement for the Summer Advanced Manufacturing Experience. The student must have passed Algebra 1. And we actually went to robotics programs too within our component districts to try to gain more interest. And it's our hope that, the same thing with the dual enrollment credit, but we kind of spoke on it as we are trying to draw people into our advanced manufacturing course or for CTE at Monroe 2 BOCES. So this is kind of an introduction to them, and then they would still receive the dual enrollment credit if they come through our program. So this is more exploratory. They get introduced to the world of advanced manufacturing. It's 2 weeks long. We did shorten the time because a lot of times what we run into is families want to go on vacation, and if they're committed to all 3 weeks in July to the beginning of August, right, it causes a problem for them. So we've reduced it down to 2 weeks for that reason.
How many students again?
So again, we cap it at 17 right now currently. in our efforts, we have 13 applicants.
And you're asking for 15,000, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any questions for our presenters here? None? I'll take a motion, to recommend to the full board to approve 15 each, program. It's gonna total of 30 for both programs, for the same program.
I'll move it. Thanks.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank
It's
you.
gotta go to the board tomorrow, and, they'll have to vote on it, but, we'll recommend it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right.
Thank you for all the hard work.
And Rebecca.
The CDL program.
Now we get Rebecca Horowitz. I'm sorry, I thought you were all in this thing together. I guess you are. This is the CDL Class B license program, right?
Yes,
And you're
exactly.
talking about 3 cohorts.
Yes, 3 cohorts. So I'm Rebecca Horowitz, I'm the assistant director, and my colleagues here are also here to talk a little bit about the program. We're requesting $85,500, up to $85,500 to support 30 students taking our CDL class. Tuition for next year will be $3,100, and the scholarship will cover all but $250. So we've kept it at $250 for the student price for the last 4 years now, and it's our goal to keep that very, very low for students as they're coming in, so that's not a barrier for employment. Anthony is going to talk a little bit about some of the successes that we've had this year, as well as some of the challenges and what we're continuing to improve in our programs. And then Shauna, our director, is going to talk a little bit about how we're looking to partner at a regional level, because we're still seeing such need for CDLB and for bus drivers, and it's really a regional problem and not just Monroe County. And so she'll talk a little bit about that, and then we've got lots of time for any questions that you have. We certainly welcome them. Go for it, Anthony.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. Before I get into data and numbers, I just wanted to touch base with you on the connections that we've made recently. Me being here 1 year and a few weeks into this position, there's been a lot of changes. I really was trying to focus on where to start to tell you today. So I'll give you the quick nickel tour. We used to have a 10 student cap with a ratio of 5-to-1 with instructors to students. We reduced that to 4-to-1 because we feel that giving more time to the group, if you will,
Sorry about that.
is a little more personable. 5 seems to be a little too much for the time frame that we had, so we're reducing that to 4-to-1, and that seems to go over quite well. We lost both of our instructors this past winter, so we had to scramble within a few weeks to make the March class happen. Luckily we did. I recruited some well-known instructors that I used to work with who all said, sure, we'll come on board and do your class for you. So the March class, a few months ago, I would say, well, I don't have a lot of years to go off of that I was there, but the March class, out of the few classes that we've had, was the best class that we've had yet. And the reason for that is the connections, like I was saying. The students connected with me and vice versa. They connected with our instructors, and we really work with them one-on-one from start, being the application process, all the way to finish getting their CDL. We've had 3 pass so far. The other 5, we had 8 in that class, are working on it, but they're in constant contact with us. I don't mind, the instructors don't mind as well. I mean, they're calling us on the weekend, they're calling us in the evening, just to run through, when I get there, what do I do? When I get there, what do I do? What do I say? Talking them off the ledge, if you will. We actually have one, I have a screenshot of a text message that one sent me where he's a City of Rochester employee trying to get his CDL, and he passed. And after he passed, he sent me a text saying, I get to see my son now, I get to save my house, I get to save my job. Because of the work that we put into that class. So that connection right there is sticking with me, and it will for quite some time. And that's what I enjoy about doing what I do, is making those connections with those individuals and then seeing that they get what they came to us for, the CDL, to better their life, to better their careers. As far as what's worked and what hasn't, I know Rebecca's gonna touch, are you gonna touch on later on about data or no?
Well, they have all the information that we've shared with
You
them.
do, okay. So, there's so much I don't know what to share with you in the time frame. We've had 4 cohorts, we're going down to 3. It seems like, well, the talk about the need for CDL out there, but for some reason the fall cohort isn't doing so well. I don't know why, I'll be honest with you, I don't know why. We see that the winter and the spring cohorts are the most intriguing. So we're gonna focus on those and then keep the summer as well. So by reducing 4 down to 3, matter of fact, this class coming up in May, we have 12. We've always had 10 capped. Usually 8 come in, we're having 12 in the May class. So we had to get a 3rd instructor, and we were able to do that. A 3rd bus, our partner at Spencerport Transportation is accommodating with that. So we're looking forward to having 12 in this class, and hopefully they all do well.
One thing I just want to say too, I mean, we are reducing down to 3 cohorts, but a lot of that is about resource management. And as Anthony was talking about, we do tend to see a decline as we move through the 4 cohorts. And so it does help us kind of condense our resources. I don't actually anticipate we'll serve overall fewer students because we haven't historically been able to fill all 4 of our cohorts. And one of the things that Anthony, he's speaking to that personal connection. The process to get your CDL permit and then your CDL license is so intense and so rigorous. A big part of what we see is students either, falling off in the early part of the process where they give up trying to earn their permit or trying to fulfill some of those requirements, or they get discouraged as they move through the course and they don't pass the first time. And so that one-on-one connection that Anthony's talking about and those relationships to help encourage students as they move through the process is so key to help keeping them engaged, to help keeping them encouraged, because it's so difficult. And by moving to 3 cohorts, we're able to increase our instructor capacity so they can provide some more of that support as we move through the process.
I tend to joke a lot because I say that my hands hurt doing this job with all the hand holding. We have 60 individuals in the pipeline that are interested in getting their CDL. They've applied to the program, but not all 60 are going to follow through, like Rebecca was saying. And the difficult thing is trying to get them to where they need to be. But again, they see what's involved in getting that permit, and it's discouraging for some of them, and they just fall off and never want to follow through with that. So it's me kind of prodding them, what can I do, what can we do to help you get what you need? Tell us. That's what you pay me for, is to help you get what you need. You applied, so you showed that interest. What's the hang up? We don't know what the hang up is.
Yeah. So in addition to providing that student support and working to make sure that the program structure makes sense for the students who are incoming and for our resources, we also have been trying to advocate with the DMV to offer the permit test at our location, which is not currently allowed in New York State, but we can see that as being a significant barrier reducer for students, if they could come to our location to take the permit instead of scheduling a test in some cases weeks and weeks out from their preparation time. Shauna's going to talk a little bit more about our efforts in trying to get more people to pass the permit, as it is such a big barrier. In addition, we also are incorporating a second road test as part of tuition. Currently, we offer 1 road test, and a student has to pay for the second or the 3rd road test if they don't pass the first time. But actually, as we've become a third-party road test site, one of the things we've realized is the DMV has a mandated fail rate for examiners, and so the idea that we would have 100% pass rate on a first attempt is impossible.
Right.
So we're incorporating the second test into the tuition. And we actually, through some grant support from ESL Federal Credit Union, we actually purchased 2 of our own buses this year and are making plans to purchase 2 more within the next year.
Rebecca, let me ask, you cap your cohorts at around maybe 10 to 12 people?
12, right?
12?
Yep.
And out of the 12 that are in the cohort, how many walk away with a CDL?
So if we look at it from, sorry, I'm actually stealing mine's right here. If we look at historically, so right now we are still testing our 3rd cohort, and then we are about to start our 4th cohort of the year tonight. So we don't have full numbers for this year. But if you look at our numbers from last year, 91% of our students passed the road test last year, and 97% of them are employed in the field. So some of them may not pass their CDL license, but they're still able to use the permit and what they've learned to enter or maintain employment so that they could perhaps in the future earn their CDL, even if they weren't able to do it well on our.
Okay, for the board, are there any more questions for the CDL license program there? We need a motion to recommend.
Move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This has to go to the board tomorrow, and we have the information here. Are they coming tomorrow? No,
I
it's
decided
not.
if you want them to, I
Only
told them
if
to,
you-
yeah, do you want
We
them
won't
there?
make you guys.
No, we won't make you come back. We'll sell this for you. But we're excited about the CDL program because we can see that the funding does assist to help, and the outcome is really tremendous. You know.
Would it be possible to just have 5 more minutes,
Go
4
ahead.
more minutes of your time? Shauna, I'd really love for her to talk to you a little bit about some of the regional partnerships that we're working on.
Sure.
Yeah, so other training providers would like to be able to offer CDLB training to their students. But because it's so labor intensive and resource intensive, what we would like to do is position ourselves in this region as being the leading provider of CDLB training. So what we've done is we've met with REOC. REOC is developing a permit class for their students. So we also met with OASIS. OASIS is developing a permit class for their students. They're actually going to send students to our permit class first so that they can get some permit holders, and then we're going to help support them in creating their own permit class. All of those students then will come through our driver training program. So we're trying to create more like pipelines and avenues for people to get their road tests. The other partner is Ibero. So we have a meeting set up with Ibero so that Ibero hopefully can send their students. You know, we can do some sort of mechanism where they're getting their permit. And then, you know, hopefully that leads to the driver training program. And that's all for CDLB. We've also had conversations with GV BOCES because GV BOCES offers CDLA program. We are discussing the possibility of moving both of our programs to Rochester Tech Park so that it's centrally located, so that GV BOCES offers CDLA, Monroe 2 BOCES offers CDLB, and then we become regional providers in this area. So we're working on collaborating with other training providers so that just because, I mean, really because we have Anthony and he has this level of expertise and experience now of being an established driver training site, a road testing site, the permit testing pieces, right? So it just really makes sense to pool our resources and support our entire community with us.
We will make sure that that is duly noted tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your
That's
time.
exciting. Yeah.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you very much. And congratulations on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.
I'd love to reach out separately too to talk to you guys about ways that the county can promote and elevate the programs through our social media channels and the like. Certainly want to showcase the partnership and the
is-
opportunity.
Is there any celebratory things that you do when folks get these, when when they finish the courses? I mean, I can come out for cake.
Duly noted.
We do it more on an individual basis, the
Okay.
class, we do, individually.
All right.
Yeah, we invite employers in and we have a celebration at the end of class, but the actual road test happens individually after the class is over, and so it's a little bit more challenging to schedule something. And generally, once an adult's got the license and has their job, they're not so much interested, even in cake. They're not, so we're trying to keep everything contained to the class and celebrate them then.
Yeah, we're gonna look at, seeing if, we can get, pictures and a little documentation of it. If you all can set up something for us, we would really like that because we wanna showcase that,
Yeah, we'd be happy to
out into the community.
Thank you, I agree, yes, we'll work on that.
Right.
This is a
Thank you all
sticker,
for your
so,
time.
well, everybody's in the stickers.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Now the database, is that you, Allison?
Yes, so the database, you'll see in your packet, I'm gonna put Allison in the hot seat to talk through the particulars of this, but, right after.
Why don't we just start out with a hard no? And then convince us of what this is, you
This
know?
is a $30,000 ask, and it's a work smarter, not harder type of a situation where, in partnership with our contractor, with Mindex Technologies, Allison and the team is building out a database that will help us with Paris and many other, regulatory compliance type work, activities. So I'm gonna let Allison talk through this, and you'll see there's a one pager in your packet as well as a proposal from Mindex as well.
So currently we're using Access, so you're probably too young for Access, I wouldn't know. Anyway, so that's what we're using is an old Access database to keep track of, payments that go out for incentive programs, contact information, pretty much like everything that we're doing, and Access is actually going away, so that's not gonna be supported anymore. Last year, Comida worked with Mindex to transfer their Access database over, and this is kind of part 2 for us, so that we have all of our stuff in one database as opposed to 2 separate databases. So we need the MCIDC component to kind of finish off the rest of it.
So Comida already made the transition to this
We
program?
did, and it was fantastic. Already, we can tell Paris is gonna be half the time that it takes us, yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna go all the way through this.
Should we
And
budget?
it's,
I don't have
and
any
it's
questions.
cloud-based
budgeted for
now
this?
instead of network-based, what's that?
Should we have budgeted for this if we knew this was coming instead of?
I think we weren't sure at the time because we didn't quite know how it was gonna look. So I think at the budget time, we weren't quite sure we were gonna do
Okay.
MCIDC, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem doing it, but I just thought, from a forward thinking, we probably should have budgeted for this.
Yeah, yes. As we look ahead, pending committee and board approval, as we look ahead to the next budget season, we'll incorporate
Try
that.
to think of projects like this. that-
Right,
But this 30,000 is to
Capped.
establish, yeah, it's capped, but this is to establish the program, and everything.
Yes, it's
Okay.
just basically taking our current database and they're gonna transfer this all into a new one for us and then they build it out.
So I would imagine that's not budgeted because we don't need $30,000 every year.
The 30,000 is the max, which I do not expect it to get to, and I
Yeah.
will tell you, we budgeted 40 for same, so we have 10 extra there.
Okay.
And I can find 20 in the budget. if you
Oh,
don't mind.
yeah, I'm not
I
worried
really
about,
could.
I'm not worried about
Okay.
that, I'm just thinking, cause we have to do this if Access is going away, so, our hands
Yeah.
are tied. But just if we did it with Comida,
Yeah,
and maybe just thinking forward for next year for projects, capital
yeah,
expenditures.
yeah,
Cause I kinda consider this, even though it's not hardware, it is still kind of a capital
Yeah.
expenditure that
Mhm.
we, and if we don't, maybe we should start putting in a reserve or something for
Yes,
these
and I
type
was
of
actually
things.
thinking we might be doing
Especially
that,
since
yeah.
we have so much money, as Hanif always reminds us,
Well,
that
I-
we should
I'm thinking
put an
that,
allowance in or something for
I'm
this.
thinking that you should just invest it in AI and go home.
Mm,
I know that that's gonna be coming up, sometime, in the near future, and hopefully I won't be around for that.
No, but that's a good point, Jeff, I think we might start
Yeah,
yeah.
budgeting something in our budget regularly to sort of do these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So we have it if we need to.
Right, because,
Right. I think so.
you all have updated equipment now, right?
Yeah, all our IS stuff is through the county, so
Yes.
yeah, we are
County
all
issued.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, so you would need that software. Okay, so the hard no looks like it's gonna turn into a yes. We need a,
I think we gotta say yes to
I
this.
mean, to deal with my
we
tears.
need a motion. to
Otherwise, you gotta
authorize
get out pencils and papers and.
the executive director to enter into a contract with Mindex, a software development company to upgrade the outdated project access, data modern, cloud-based program to up to 30,000. That's the cap.
That's a lot of words, but
Yeah.
I move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we have three, recommendations tomorrow for, the board meeting.
Thank you, thanks for taking the time for the committee meeting
Yeah,
on short
I
notice.
told her, it's good. I like to do it like this, so, when we come before the, board, you'll understand that we've looked at it. Jim.
Right,
It's got some eyes on it.
yes,
That CDL program, I'm impressed with, the forward thinking, the last, woman that gave the connection to how they're trying to connect with, all of the other, trainings.
Mm-hmm.
They try to make it a one-stop shop.
regional,
One thing about it, it's a good investment for our money because people are getting jobs, they're upgrading their life,
they're
and,
good jobs.
yeah.
Well, and, I mean, every time you go into a different town, you see the sign for the school district. Every single,
Every school.
Yeah.
Yeah, every school.
Yeah.
every
Ron
single.
Jones on the Comita board always says with the CDL, you get a commercial driver's license, you got a job for the rest of your life.
Right,
So yeah, it's really
it's
impressive.
medical, transportation, everything.
Yeah,
It's, you know. Yeah, but to your point, I'm always seeing the yellow bus on the corner.
yeah,
And after COVID, those jobs went that way, and they never really filled them back up again, so. You have to look for them, a lot of folks that were retired were doing those jobs, but they just never filled them again, so.
thank you all for your time
So
today,
we're back here tomorrow at 12?
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
sir.
Oh, yes,
Some of us are here at 11:15. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah, because loan company's 11:15, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I just double checked.